Hi, I'm Rob from B&H, and in this video we're going to take a look and a listen to the Nord Lead 4 synthesizer. This latest iteration of the Nord Lead delivers some excellent virtual analog and FM synthesis sounds with a lot of character via its redesigned 20-voice, 4-part multi-timbral DSP engine with built-in effects. There's also a powerful 4-part arpeggiator, a plethora of knobs and buttons for hands-on adjustment of parameters, and some additional tools like the Mutator and the Impulse Morph that add a lot to programming and performance. The Nord Lead 4 comes in 2 iterations, the 49-key keyboard version that we have with us today, as well as the Nord Lead 4R, a desktop or rack-mountable version if you don't need another keyboard. The keyboard itself is velocity sensitive with a nice synth action response, mod wheel, and Nord's usual wooden pitch stick, but no aftertouch response. The Nord features 400 sound locations, and any can be overwritten with your custom patches. Up to 4 separate sounds can be playing at once, and sounds can be layered or split across the keyboard. Those combinations can be saved into any of the 99 performance presets. The presets and performances that ship with the unit are really good for any number of musical genres, but especially for EDM, electronica, soundtrack work, and pop, and other genres where you want the sounds to be on the electronic or techie side of the spectrum. The Nord Lead 4 does basses, pads, and yes, leads very nicely, with sounds that tend to cut quite well even through busy mixes. I especially like many of its arpeggiated sounds. Let's listen to a couple of patches and presets to get an idea of what the Nord Lead 4 sounds like. As I said, the Nord Lead 4 features an overhauled DSP sound engine that offers virtual analog or FM synthesis, and every sound parameter on the Nord Lead 4 has a physical knob or button so you can quickly make hands-on adjustments without having to page through annoying menus. The bare-bones LED display shows you currently active programs and performances, as well as parameter values. Incidentally, if you hold the copy button down while adjusting a knob, you can see the current value of that particular parameter in the display without changing the setting, which is very helpful. You get 2 oscillators for each sound in the 4 slots. Oscillator 1 can conjure up the usual virtual analog suspects, a pulse, triangle, saw, or sine. In addition, there are 128 digital wavetables to choose from. Oscillator 2 can also produce analog-style waveforms and noise, or modulate Oscillator 1, either in FM or oscillator sync mode. The filter offers a resonance control and several different characteristics to choose from. 3 low-pass filters with 12, 24, or 48 dB slopes, a band pass, a high pass, and 2 new filters for Nord, ladder M, a Moog emulation, and ladder TB, a Roland 303 emulation. A Unison Mode is available that adds slightly detuned voices for a fatter sound, but of course that comes at the expense of some of the polyphony available. There are 2 LFOs on board with a multitude of routing destinations, with LFO 1 doing double duty as the arpeggiator, but that trick also enables you to get up to 4 arpeggiators going at the same time. The arpeggiator is quite adjustable, with a tempo range from 30 to 300 beats per minute, a 1 to 4 octave range, straight and triplet clock divisions, multiple directions, and even patterned arpeggios organized into 6 different pattern types, ranging from elementary to odd meter and fill patterns. You can also arpeggiate chords, which I really appreciated. The LFOs, arpeggiator, and the built-in delay effect can be synced to the master internal clock or an external MIDI clock, maybe from your DAW for example, with different timing divisions possible for some complex rhythmic effects in sync with your master tempo. Now, if you prefer reverb to delay, you can do that by holding the Shift button and pressing the Feedback button, and now you can choose a room, stage, or hall effect. In addition to the time-based effect on every slot, the Nord Lead 4 offers an additional processing effect on each of the 4 slots as well. You can choose between a bit crusher, a compressor, a tube-style overdrive, 2 talkbox effects, and a comb filter. Also, a unique feature to the Nord Lead 4 is the ability to modulate the amount of those effects with the modulation envelope, or LFO2. New on the Nord Lead 4 is a quite helpful new tool for sound programming called the Mutator. More interesting than simple random sound generation, although it can do that, are its variation and mutation processes, which tend to be a lot more musically useful. Basically, the sound engine will generate parameter variations at a level you set, between 1 for fairly subtle variations up to 5 for quite dramatic changes. The difference between the 2 processes is that every time you engage the variation process, it refers back to the original sound to make changes. In other words, I engage the variation process, and if I like what I get, great. But if I don't, I can engage the process again and try out a completely new variation based on that original sound. The mutation process, on the other hand, doesn't go back to the original sound to create a variation. Instead, every time I press the button, a new mutation happens based on the previous mutation that you did. So the patch kind of evolves over time. If you take the mutations a step too far, don't worry, there are 10 levels of undo on it. I loved this feature, and it can really help generate some cool sound variations and can get you out of the sound programming rut of just reaching for the frequency and resonance knobs all the time. One of the cool features about the Nord Lead 4 that makes it such a good performance keyboard is morphing. Morphing on the Nord Lead 4 basically means that you can change multiple sound parameters from a single source. Keyboard velocity, the mod wheel, a control pedal, or by the impulse morph buttons. Most of the factory programs have some morphing built in, and if there is morphing already tied to the velocity or the mod wheel or both, the green morph LEDs for those will be lit up. The impulse morph buttons are for instantaneous parameter changes, and unlike the other 2 morph options, can alter switched parameters. Between the 3 buttons or combinations of buttons, 7 impulse morph variations are possible, and the parameter changes can be set to stay that way after the button press or revert back to the original sound after the button is released. If a parameter is altered by the impulse morph, a green LED will light up to let you know, which is a smart, helpful touch. In terms of build, the Nord Lead 4 offers the quality construction we're used to seeing on Nord Lead stuff, and yes, like all Nord keyboards, it is very red. The keyboard is lighter than it looks though, weighing just under 12 pounds. That's quite portable for a 49-key synth. On the back are 4 1/4-inch outputs, inputs for both a sustain pedal and a control pedal, and a headphone jack, which I personally wish was on the front instead. Also on the back are the MIDI in and out ports and the USB port, which also sends and receives MIDI data, of course, but in addition allows you to use the Nord Sound Manager software for Mac or PC that comes with the unit, and it's basically a librarian for your sounds and performances in the Nord Lead 4. So hopefully that gives you some idea of what you get with the Nord Lead 4. With 20 voices, 4 different sounds available simultaneously, each with its own arpeggiator, hands-on buttons and knobs, morphing, mutating, effects, and more, the Nord Lead 4 is an electronic sound-generating powerhouse, both for studio productions and live performance. I'm Rob from B&H. Thanks for watching.
Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, B&H has the answers to your questions. Experience a world of technology at our New York City Superstore. Connect with us online or give us a call. Our staff of experts is happy to help.